Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm very good, actually. I haven't been able to cast much of VP this patch so far, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. They've still got a very star-studded lineup, so lots of fun to be had.
Ah. I also did the classic. I did a long, lengthy introduction where I was talking about all great things, and my mic was muted, so people just heard you come right on into that at the beginning.
Oh,
So
good.
that's wonderful. But basically I was saying FlyToMoon versus Virtus.pro is happening, and you're joining me through the cast. So yeah, I haven't got to see much of Virtus.pro either. I saw FlyToMoon yesterday just completely body both first Windstrike, and that one was not particularly close. But then after Hellraisers of all people, and Hellraisers have been looking really good. They're one of the only teams that's been able to take a game off of Virtus.pro in the past couple of weeks, and obviously that other big match that happened earlier where they're playing against Nigma and looked pretty good.
I saw your tweet about General's Mars as well.
Oh, he's a
So
monster.
VP have heeded your advice. they've taken it out straight away.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the best Mars performance I've seen in professional Dota. It was unbelievable. If anybody didn't catch that, go check out the VODs from BTS One. Or they're probably going to be up on the YouTube channel as well. I think it was Game One versus Hellraisers, or maybe it was Game Two versus Windstrike. I don't know. It was somewhere in there. But yeah, it's a whole new world of Dota 2. CIS feels like it's kind of doing its own thing. I've been able to catch snippets of other games. But first pick Nyx. This guy's been making a comeback.
Yeah, I feel like it got banned a lot though before, right? So you kind of, when it gets first banned all the time, you kind of forget it's a hero, because then when it gets let through, you're like, oh yeah,
Right.
oh yeah, this guy's here, it's back. I still think it's a pretty strong hero in general overall, and it still makes playing like certain heroes really difficult. Like I spoke likes playing DP, for example, which I think can be a little bit tough against Nyx sometimes. So it'd be interesting to see. I think Zayats is just a super good Nyx assassin player.
Radiant team pick.
Yeah, he's a stud in every sense of the word. There is that Death Prophet that comes out now. I don't know if you caught this the other day, but they were playing a match and they actually switched it up and ended up running DP as position 5, which was something that I had never seen before. But it was a really weird departure. And if I remember right, it ended up working as well. Let me double check on that one, what it was that they opened, because I think that they opened with it at the start. Yeah, it was Always Want to Fly on DP, and they won.
I mean, after Kroki was picking all these weird position 5 heroes in the We Play event,
yeah,
everybody's been inspired now to just start playing other weird position 5 heroes. I just think DP is a pretty crazy hero this patch in general. Spirit Siphon is just such a crazy skill as well. So again, like when you've got a mid player like I spoke that's so good at this hero, but then it ends up not being a great DP game, you can kind of be like, well, we'll just throw it on the 5.
right.
We'll pick Iceberg, some different win conditioning hero, because they have last pick overall in the draft for it as well. So they don't have to make the decision on their mid hero necessarily until the last pick if they want to.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that the all of the heroes in that last series, where it was FlyToMoon going up against Hellraisers, it was like Nyx, Batrider, and then they went ET and like Leshrac and TA. So it felt like it was heroes where it was going to be really hard for the DP to live through all of that pressure that came her way. And like you said, DP just an incredibly strong hero nowadays. And when those heroes become that much more strong than all the other heroes in the game, being able to switch them over to another role, it still works. It was one of the saddest moments ever where he just got level 6, immediately popped spirits to take down the bottom tower. They were dire, trying to take the bottom tier 1 tower. He goes around the corner, and he just instantly gets blown up. And I was like, all right, man, this game is over. But they ended up winning still, regardless.
What do you remember? What item build he went for on the POS 5 DP? I feel like that's
let's see. He had, by the end of the game, Windlace, Magic Wand. Oh, and then Ghost Scepter, and then Lotus Orb.
He's role playing really well. He's a ghost, so I understand.
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty hype.
I think they're opening super good against the Nyx though. I really like Ruby up into Nyx in general. It's like a really good way of punishing the hero, because anything you steal, it's like really strong in the fights, especially in Pale, because you get the extra duration from your Arcane Supremacy. It's like it's really, really strong, and they have a very good Rubik player as well. So always good to see.
Oh, I like that. The Chen Taken, as long as he gives that bonus healing in lane, this man will pick up headdresses and just run in there and punch people. That's pretty much it. I do like the occasional thing where you'll see like one of the Chens pick up like a range creep and try and farm like a super fast mech, but FlyToMoon and Response are going to go for the AA. This isn't always want to fly special, so it seems less likely they would try and swap the DP to POS 4 now, or POS 5 now.
Yeah, I would assume it's going to be Iceberg's hero, but again, they could still play it POS 3.
Yeah,
depending on what the matchup is, especially as well. I like the AA pick. It allows you to blow up whoever you're going on without the Chen being able to heal them up again, right? So it's super annoying in some fights when you think you're about to kill somebody off, the mech gets popped, Hand of God gets popped, and suddenly they're like above half HP again. I don't mind the AA pick too much. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they pick with the AA though in the laning stage, because I feel like the teams that utilize AA the best are the ones that like have this presence with like loads of heroes that can initiate in different ways. So like Rubik's one where you can lift with the follow up Ice Blast and whatnot. And we tend to see things like Centaur in the past as well, or like just Sven, like easy ways of setting up kills. Okay.
It's not really what I would have expected based upon what we're talking about here. The idea of being able to set up for an easy, whether it's the old classic of like a cold feet proc with the stun or something like that. But this feels like it's more, I guess you're probably going to be able to win the regen war no matter who you are, because Ricky has like really good base regen. And assuming that it's going to end up being like a Beastmaster Nyx lane, although I guess hypothetically they could put the Chen into there too. But it feels like it's at the very least going to be Beastmaster and Ricky going off against each other in the laning stage, unless we see some swaps.
Yeah, I think the Ricky's really good against Ember though in general.
Yeah.
If you think of like Ember builds, like we used to see the Yules a lot, but the Smoke Cloud really punishes that hero because it forces him to build a BKB at some point, which Ember doesn't necessarily always want to do. Like you kind of want to be a little bit more greedy with your item build when you can get away with it. But the Ricky's a decent pick in general. This Beastmaster is interesting as well because they need a hero that doesn't need too much help in the laning stage because they have a Nyx, right? But it also means they have the potential to run a tri-lane as well, I think, with like the Chen Nyx +1, whether it's Ember or a different core. So it'll be interesting to see whether FlyToMoon want to go for like this POS 3, like big initiation teamfight kind of hero that might have to deal with a tri-lane.
Yeah, that's a good point. It could be a little bit tough for them to deal with if they do just end up getting tri-lane there. You mentioned the Ricky against the Ember being good throughout the game. In the laning stage, is there any chance that you would swap it over? We've occasionally seen some like weird matchups when it's Ember being placed in the mid lane. Obviously, no way to break through Flame Guard for Ricky, but can do probably a pretty good job of like out CSing him, I would imagine, in the laning stage as well.
Yeah, they could do. They have last pick overall as well, like you say, so
yeah.
They can make that decision. I think, yeah, like you say, the problem is with Flame Guard, right, where you can't really stop the Ember from just farming if he wants to, necessarily. Yeah. But if the Ricky has a good start to the game so far, I can see him kind of just taking it over almost. Like you get a good diffusal timing, you just, run around. There's not really too much that can stop you here. You have Raw from the Beastmaster, which is really annoying as well, but I imagine they'll pick up some kind of, like, really strong tanky hero that can just force fights and try and bait some spells onto themselves.
No. To be honest with you, I actually just still wouldn't mind just keeping it super simple on FlyToMoon and last picking a general hero that can sort of set the pace of the game. He has been, by and large, the person that's been winning these games for FlyToMoon, it feels like. Again, like on multiple different heroes, he was going like, 10 kills, 0 deaths, and like 15 assists or some crazy stats like that. And through the first like 10 minutes of the game, he's involved in every kill that the team makes, it feels like. So I definitely wouldn't mind just seeing a V2 and Ricky, and then Iceberg, Death Prophet, and then we'll see where they go from there. As last pick comes out, it's going to be a Gyrocopter for Virtus.pro. All right.
I guess that's the Kuman comfort hero though, right, as well?
Yeah.
Something that VP really like picking. And if you look at their lineup as well, they have this lineup that just comes online super early. Like Chen gets mech, Gyro gets BKB, and they just go, right? There's no stopping them. Like they have Beastmaster, or he can build like a Pipe or a Crimson or whatever he wants.
10 seconds.
Probably a Vlad's, and they just they look to take objective after objective, and they're not going to be afraid to take fights early on. I like what you're saying about General as well. It reminds me of his clock last patch as well, where he was going like quadruple bracer and just running around the map, just fighting people constantly. I hear that guy's like so good for quite a while now.
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's stepped up his game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like they ban Batrider themselves as well, but in the past he's been known as a really good Batrider player as well.
Well, last pick coming out here. It should also mention that with like the breakdown and the disbandment of old VP, it feels like there's this opening that exists in CIS now for being the dominant force, and it still feels like it's a Virtus.pro based upon results so far. But there's been a little bit of back and forth here and there. As Enchantress is going to be the last pick, great for taking off Flame Guard, and also just like a lane bully.
It's really interesting up against the Chen as well, because you have the chance to obviously just keep stealing each other's creeps.
Right.
So we'll have to see how that one goes. Yeah, I don't mind it too much. It's a hero that can fight and come online and fight really early as well, which I think is really important here. I would have liked something that can kind of stand frontline a little bit earlier, maybe, just because this Ember Beastmaster Gyro Tricore sounds really threatening.
Remaining.
Yeah.
But again, I'm willing to be proven wrong. General's a very good Ench player as well.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder how much it gets done with the Rubik in the lane as well, though.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that's kind of interesting to watch here, right, is like it's a little bit different since Enchant is such a longer cooldown, where you're, obviously the Chen isn't going to be able to steal he's going to be able to steal them more often than the Enchantress is now. But the other thing is that General's going to be able to get her own big creep real early in the laning stage, right? Like if you Satyr spawns up there, she's living the dream. So we'll see. I mean, do you think that Gyrocopter needs to be like wary in that lane? Would Virtus.pro want to think about like trying to rotate somewhere else, that way he doesn't just like eat impetus shots, or do you think it's okay sitting with just a Chen in that lane?
I think Zayats might end up starting with the Chen and the Gyrocopter in the laning stage, and just really bullying the Ench early on, because I think if this Ench has a good start to the game, I think he can, kind of just take it over a little bit, possibly. I think people normally block creep camps as well against the Chen. It's going to be great to see the dire side, the radiant side block the small camp for the Chen, and then the dire side block the big camp for the Ench as well.
Yeah,
just trading it out.
It's gonna be a weird one, definitely. As we get the inaugural pause to start the game, which you always love to see. I'm gonna swap on over to this one, and perfect. All right, now I've got my overlay stuffs already. Oh, dude, they're doing a Ukrainian flag.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Is that was that intentional? I'm pretty
very few of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check this real quick.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it was checking the. I'm pretty sure that FlyToMoon is an all Ukrainian team as well. That's the other thing about them. And Virtus.pro has some Ukrainian players, but not the full one at the very least. And there's never a moment where I wish that I spoke Russian more.
I started trying to learn a little bit of Russian because the whole quarantine and everything. I was like, well, start trying to pass the time. I'll give Russian a go. I loaded up. I can't remember what the website was. Started giving it a go, and I was like, this is really hard.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a completely different language. Don't use the same alphabet and everything. So it's going to take a while, I think.
Yeah, it's really tough, I would imagine. I mean, the other two big languages in Dota 2, China and Russian, and they're both just so different from English. But at the same time, it sounds like a fun idea to be able to learn how to play. I guess you would also have more instances to try and like practice it as well, playing in like Europe West or Europe East or whatever, versus me, where there's not too many Russians playing on US East, if I had to say.
That's true. Yeah, I remember when I went to Russia before, though, I tried to get a handler to teach me some basic Russian phrases that I could use in my pubs.
Okay.
And they only taught me ones that were basically just flaming people. So, so when I get Russians on my team that are bad, I can, I'm really useful at, trying to build them up, get them angry so that they can play better. But
Nice.
if there's anybody ever playing well, I can't tell them that they're doing well.
Oh no, yeah, that's the worst. Yeah, just spread the toxicity in Dota 2. That's the way it's got to happen. I definitely feel you. I think some people out there, just to real quickly reiterate this, would be a little bit surprised. This is something I'm going to bring up once the BTS one goes down and we start hosting this channel. Would be a little bit surprised that Hellraisers got knocked out, considering that they've kind of been that up and coming team. But the thing that I mentioned earlier is like with this vacuum of power that exists, as Virtus.pro doesn't feel like it's the same form of dominance they used to have. A team like FlyToMoon all of a sudden can start getting to majors pretty consistently, I think. If we ever have majors again, that is.
Yeah, ever. Oh, I wonder if they ever come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was, personally really surprised to see Hellraisers go out. They've been really dominant for a while now. They beat Na'Vi 3-0 in the CIS final as well in the other event. So I was really expecting them to come up against VP in the final, but it's nice to see FlyToMoon get here. I've cast some series on FlyToMoon in the last 6 months or so where they've looked really poor. I'll be honest. They've made some really silly mistakes. They'll look back at the games and think, geez, what have we done here?
Yeah.
So it's nice to see them on their little on the up curve again.
Totally. Well, and I mean, a decent chunk of change to be playing for here as well. $50,000. As always want to fly 4 heroes rotating in. V2 might need to blink straight it over, but it looks like they are going to be able to trade off now bounty runes 2 apiece. His general is set up to take his, and yeah, they weren't ever going contest for that one. I thought maybe like a blink strike in, blink strike out, but that's too scary.
I think Solo's just messed up really badly there.
Yeah, he did.
He decided to bring the gyro into him before TPing to the lane. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
And so now Gyro's had to TP top.
Oh, no. Solo. Yeah, because that's one of the ways that you would want to play this lane, right? Is like spam out your entire mana pool, bring your general super duper low, and then just like TP back home. The only plus side is that general's not going to know about that. At least he will see
he can see that he has 2 TP scrolls though, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I assume what he meant to do was TP. He forgot his TP was on cooldown, right? And then normally if you have the S to stop, if you don't press S, then you can just cast your next spell straight away.
Right.
And so he cast a spell without even thinking because he thought his TP had gone off.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Damn. Well, I mean, yeah, so there's a couple of ways that they're also going to be able to see it, right? The other thing that they're going to see is that Solo doesn't have a full mana pool. So they're going to know, as we already see the early Dark Troll Summoner coming out here, that one, that he doesn't have a TP, and also Solo doesn't have the ability to pull him back in. And that also, I'm assuming, sort of informed their item builds a little bit. Coolman, I guess he has 2 stacks of Tangos, but like no salve or anything. We'll see how that plays out, if there's any sort of repercussions because of that.
I mean, the problem is when you play Gyro in the lane, you have really poor base damage if you don't build loads of stats. So you tend not to build a salve on this hero at the start of the game, just because otherwise, like, your base damage is so low, it's really difficult to get last hits.
Yeah.
Especially under tower. I mean, Kuma's doing a pretty good job at the moment, but it can be relatively difficult.
Solo comes over there, going to take back over the outpost, also bringing himself a sentry to try and deward this pull. So should be able to hit that one without too much issue, it looks like. And another creep taken over here by the Enchantress, getting these big ones. I mean, the other fact about it is that since they're not, since they weren't there at the start, they weren't able to block out the hard camp. So Ench having access to these is pretty good for that laning stage, at least at the start.
Yeah, the only problem is with the new Ench. I'm pretty sure you can't. I'm not an Ench player. I'm like 0 and 8 on this hero, by the way. But I'm pretty sure you can't enchant the creep again that you've already started controlling, right?
Yeah.
You used to be able to. You can't anymore. So it's not like awful if the Ench starts getting these big creeps, because they do die relatively quickly. But I mean, it's only 30 seconds. It can be a pain for the laning stage, but it's not as just like really as strong as it was before.
Right, definitely. Oh, Iceberg ended up against no one. No one needs to be careful, as the Flame Guard was wearing out, and there's a Spirit Siphon as well as a level 2 Crypt Swarm. But obviously no one hanging on to that Sleight of Fist. Can pump fake, try and dodge away from any Crypt Swarm damage that might come his way. So we'll see if they get any extra pressure out there. But so far, so good. Ench, actually the only one that's kind of having a tough time so far, General here. They do take back over this range creep, so she's going to be able to see us a little bit better with that one now, it looks like.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, this Gyro is doing a much better job up here than I thought he would. You say General's having a rough time, but Kuman's doing better, I think, than he should. But this is his comfort here, right, that we talked about, so he seems to be, very confident on his abilities.
No one? Oh my god. Oh, he's living. And that was all of Iceberg's regen used. So, well played by no one there.
4-minute rune. Okay. I think if no one had got the 4-minute rune there, the lane might have been over. But,
yeah.
Iceberg's been rescued a little bit here because his Spirit Siphon's going to be on a bit of a better cooldown now.
Yeah. I think this is the bottle coming out for no one right now, though. And on the other side, it looks like it's just going to be boots picked up for the DP. So no extra regen. It's first blood. Going to get claimed in the bottom lane as Vtoon continuing to take some extra pressure from this Beastmaster Nyx lane. We haven't looked at this one that much, but so far, Ricky's been able to break pretty even with Resolution. He's having a nice little time for himself.
Yeah, I really like Rezo's build, though. He's gone for this Buckler early on to help with the Ricky's physical damage, and he's gone for the Orb of Venom as well. So he can output a lot of pressure in this lane early on. I find it really interesting that they decided to sentry block the camp, the small camp. I'm pretty sure Hawk blocks it, right? So
yeah,
they just decided to use the Hawk to just scout the lane instead, and then just block it completely with a ward.
Yeah, that definitely is a little bit different. Not what we normally see out of Beastmasters, but like you said, having that extra ability to just scout out to the side here means that they can see if Always Wanna Fly is going for that wraparound and obviously mess when he's trying to do stuff. 5 minutes there, the bounty runes did spawn, and it looked like it was Aloha Dance was able to pick up 2 of them, so yeah, 2 for 2 a trade.
Mid lane as well, the Aloha Dance is trying to come in to make a rotation here with the siege creep, and it instantly died to the tower, and DP was like only just about to hit level 6. So some games we see this DP where the 2 supports rotate mid at the catapult timing, just as she gets the exorcism, and then you can like do loads of damage to the mid tier 1, but I feel like this is like the big first power spike for the DP that has been kind of just missed this game.
Yeah, not great. And that does mean that obviously no one's fairly happy. 6 minutes, it's going to be a regen that spawns top. So nice luck there, working out for FlyToMoon on the runes at least, as they've been able to get both of them so far. Rotation
no one's
bottom.
pretty sad that he misses both of them.
Oh, Iceberg scouted by the Hawk. Oh, that's unfortunate. But they do still have this catapult. They might still try and make this move to take the tower, even though it was scouted. It doesn't look like it. Iceberg's just leaving. So he TP'd bottom, hoping to find something, but that Hawk placement means that they are not going to be able to make the rotation work out for themselves.
Yeah, it could be difficult as well because they didn't have Glyph to like keep the creep wave alive. They the boar can just pull the creep wave away from the tower as well. They're going on Always Wanna Fly though.
A lot of damage out there. Vtoon, they're bringing in Aloha Dance to try and stop the pressure, and well, they can't really do all that much. It's just too much early aggression. Granted, only 2 kills so far in the game as a whole. As Resolution gets one more deny there. There was a period of time where Rezo was like really struggling on Beastmaster. He kept on losing boar after boar, but it feels like he's been gaining a lot of practice recently and has been pretty rapidly improving in the off lane.
Losing those boars is so costly as well because I think they're like 60 XP each.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, which is like such a huge amount at the start of the game.
Vtoon trying to TP out of there is barely going to be able to make it back to base, but to TP back home. And Always Wanna Fly just going to walk out towards the mid lane with the Aloha Dance already there. So this could end up being a lot of pressure. And yeah, Resolution, recognizing the opportunity, is already going to start to push this wave. Although it looks like they're going to get a pull off now instead. So I thought they were going to try and apply some pressure, but looks like
he's about to get Necro Book though. Like it's coming out on the courier, right? So I think you time your big push with the Necro Book on the Beastmaster. So, you know, you start to... I mean, the Necro Book, in general, is like such a crazy amount of damage. So if you can hit that timing where you get like a double creep wave like this, you can just start smashing the tower down all at once.
He also has Roar available. Yeah, V2 needs to be so careful right now. This is terrifying. He spawns the Hawk, getting some extra vision here.
6.
Already he's trying to get some extra movement over to the side. Is he going to go for it? No, doesn't look like it. Instead, pressure over to the side here. Solo makes this rotation, and it looks like now they're going to try and pressure the tier 1 tower as they bring over everybody. Likewise, another move being made up towards the top side where Coolman just going to TP out of here. So the trade-off to tier 1 towers is in full effect.
I find it really interesting for the Radiant side on FlyToMoon. Their lineup's like not great in general at reacting to things, right? Where if you have like the AA and the Rubik in one place, you know, they can get their nice little cold feet lift combo off like this here. Then they look a lot better. It's different now. Ember's level 6, obviously, but like if VP make the move and go on them, it's really difficult for them to kind of like counteract plays. Like you can't. There's nobody that can just TP in and change a fight completely. Like they need to be on the front foot to be able to control the game.
Yeah. Well, and even there, you see, like even if they are on the front foot, it might not end up working out because, you know, you've got Chen heal, which we haven't even had to see yet in this game. You've got the Ember being able to jump away. I will say, had V2 had a point in silence right then, I think that Ember just dies. But obviously going for this carry build, he's a lot more farm oriented. And that 1 point probably wouldn't even be worth it regardless. So 10-minute mark now. Looks like it's going to be both outposts going to Virtus.pro as FlyToMoon not really in position to go and contest for any of them.
I think these 10-minute outposts though are more. They shouldn't be as a worry as some people think they should be though, right?
Okay.
Like 150 XP it's nice, like especially on your supports.
Right.
Like AA and Rubik, for example, would love like 150 XP at the moment, but it's not going to get them to level 6 at the moment. They're both really under-leveled.
Yeah.
So the XP is nice, but it's not massively game-changing. They need to just give them a lane, especially Aloha Dance on this Rubik needs to really get towards this level 6 mark.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't solve the problems that are inherent from how the game has gone so far. The fact that led them to the fact where they can't contest outposts is a bigger deal than that they didn't get it, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Well, General is taking a wander underneath the Hawk, and they've got a hell of a lot of people right on next to him. Runs away, Roar, not going to be there, is broken, is pummeled, and is killed. So they take down General, this person that's been the sort of main source of power coming out from FlyToMoon the past couple days, and it's just not working out for him. Uh-oh.
They're just playing the map a lot better on VP. Like they're constantly hunting, looking for these +1s. I talked about their like 20-minute timing with this Tricore. They're like, well, we'll raise you this 20-minute bet, and we'll say 10 minutes, and we'll just start running around and taking all the towers.
God, playing around this Beastmaster is just so easy for them. As Stolen Sleight of Fist, kind of cool. He can go for the lift play as he goes out there if he wants with Sleight of Fist going on, but doesn't look like they're going to opt for it. They do manage to hold on to their tier 1 tower, though, which is
I love
nice.
that VP keep the tower at 11% HP, though, instead of 10. Just so it can't get denied.
That's true. You gotta find those nice little bits there. Yeah, but like you say, it's the movement around the map feels better from Virtus.pro, and I guess it also speaks to this draft that they have, right? Like, this lineup is really good at pressuring right now in the next couple of minutes. Beastmaster, Gyrocopter, like, call down is terrifying at these early points.
I also think they recognize that V-Tune on this Ricky isn't really a threat to them at all until he gets this diffuser played, right? So if they can keep forcing the issue, forcing the tempo, until this Ricky gets diffusal, he can't really do anything. So they kind of know they're always going to be at least one person up in these fights.
Oh, and backs out underneath the Sentry Ward. V-Tune's going to farm it up. They do have vision of him. Zayat's here. Looking
Dust as well.
Follow. Is he getting too greedy? I don't think so. Yeah, he's just going to leave the one creep back there as well behind enemy lines. The whole wraparound's coming, though. General spots out this Ember Spirit. Solo is in tow as well, and a good rotation there from General. That would have been a dead Ricky otherwise, most likely. And V2 now is just sort of hanging out for the moment. So they managed to take down that tier 1 tower mid lane. And with that, back away. No one.
They got the slow off with the ball.
Yeah, they got the DD onto no one as well. Looking for this follow. Gotta be careful.
The map must feel so small for FlyToMoon at the moment, though. Like, look where VP are playing.
Yeah.
They do not care.
All of that, it feels like right now, is theirs.
And when you have this Ench here that doesn't really do anything, like playing from behind in a way, right? Where he's kind of just running around trying to get whatever scraps of farm he can, because the Riki and the DP have to be the ones that take farm priority.
Yeah.
And when there's so little of the map to play on the Radiant side, this general Ench is going to be the one that suffers the most.
Oh, he's got enchant. All right, takes off the flame guard, and he's forced to run away. I mean, that is a nice little combo there. Like, you've got the ability to take off the DD and the flame guard as soon as he pops it. And it looks like he's going for blade mail. No one is. So that's kind of a cool way to deal with the Ench.
Well, so blade mail's the new in item at the moment, right? Where a lot of people have been experimenting with this more and more. You know how it was Crystallis last patch for the damage output?
Right.
If you look what blade mail does for the amount of gold it is, it's pretty nuts, honestly. Yeah. It's like, I think it's 28 damage, and then it's like 5 armor or whatnot, and like everything, just when you're playing this tempo lineup where every little bit of gold makes a difference, like in these early fights, like these drums, the blade mails and whatnot, it can really add up very quickly.
Okay. Well,
yeah, 28 damage, 6 armor, 10 in for 2,000 gold.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I mean, yeah, like you said, it's an item that I think at various points was being picked up by Ember Spirit anyways. If I remember back, like, I don't know, a couple of patches ago, I want to say. But a hero in the thick of things who has the ability to jump out pretty quickly. I will say these past couple of minutes have felt better for FlyToMoon. Yes, the map's been very constricted. Yes, they haven't really been able to get done what they want to get done. But it does also feel like they've been able to dodge these ganks. And now, finding a quick little pickoff here on a solo. That's the Diffusal Blade. Always want to fly using his level 6. They're making it happen a little bit.
Yeah, good job playing around their vision as well. That's the most important thing here. You know, when you're playing into the Nyx Assassin as well, especially, you have to be really careful about where you're moving across on the map. Like, including the supports mainly. Like Aloha Dancing always want to fly.
So, right now, 15-minute mark. Next round of items are coming out on the neutrals. Ooh, Aloha Dance has a shovel. You love to see it. But it was also a Bassi picked up for a Rezo, which I'm assuming is going to be sent back for the gyrocopter. Obviously, yeah, Aquila, sorry, not Bassi. As they're going to recall in that gyrocopter now. Cool Man trying to get his items in time, doesn't quite get there, which is unfortunate because I think that was his full Ags. So they're taking this fight before the full Ags gets there. We'll see if it ends up making a difference at all. Always want to fly, just runs into a big old problem. There are a lot of heroes here. Roar immediately out. They drop down the silence. Big Ice Blast coming through, connects on the Resolution. As the missile going to connect, wrap around, still continuing on Iceberg with that Exorcism. A ton of damage out onto all of these heroes. As he gets that Aghanim Scepter mid-fight, he's going to try and bring down Iceberg here. Big stun, all of the damage in the world. And they just hit a switch and started going.
I mean, they just have so much sustain. Like, unless the AA ult hits 5 heroes,
yeah,
which it very rarely will, this Mech and Hand Your God combo from solo is just keeping everybody alive in the fights. Jeez. It's really difficult for the FlyToMoon side to try and fight into them at the moment. Like, their line is really good at picking off individual heroes, because they have like the Riki with the Diffusal, they have lift into Cold Feet and everything. Like, Ench can output a lot of damage onto one hero, but in these big like 5-on-5 brawls, it's so difficult for them to like focus down one hero and then try and move on to the next one, because they have no like AoE control or like damage, right? There's no CC. And when this gyrocopter's running at you with flat cannon on, you know, there's Sleight of Fist as well.
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
And it speaks to that issue that we were talking about before of like, oh, well, they actually are going to be able to find this Ember Spirit now. This is a nice pickoff here, as they just blow him up and going to maybe find a little bit more. As Chen takes back over that Centaur, takes back the other direction. A little bit back and forth.
Oh, the cool one.
Okay. Buyback coming in. No one wants to fight. Zayat setting up, hits a 2-person impale. Well played. Stunned to interrupt, though. Nice play from the taken over creep. And now immediately with the root, they're going to be able to kill off this Enchantress. So it was a buyback used by no one, but it's going to set up for them to take Roshan.
Oh, and a nice little arcade rune spawn there as well, in case there's another fight that breaks out.
Yeah.
Very nice for no one. Yeah, this Beastmaster hero is so good at just enabling Roche for lineups that don't normally do Roche very well, though.
Yeah. So the thing that I was going to talk about before we got into this as well was the Chen versus Death Prophet as well. Like, Exorcism feels so much less significant when there's all those Chen creeps that are in there tanking it up. And of course, you know, Hand of God healing up all your creeps the whole time as well means that it's like that extra bit of damage that's going to be dealt out as VTune is just super duper dead. Well, it does get the jump away. Maybe a Blink Strike? Nah, I can't get there in time.
Yeah, and you talk about the Chen creeps, Lyrical. It's not even that. It's the Beastmaster as well. Like, there's 2 of them.
Yeah. That's terrifying. You just don't, like, you have damage, but all that damage is being tanked through by these, like, crappy little summons.
That, and I think it was level 1 Exorcism as well.
Yeah.
Which was really sad.
Yeah.
Like the level 1 Exorcism to level 2 so big because it effectively doubles the damage. You know, you're doubling the amount of spirits that come through. So such a massive timing for that hero.
And it does have that level 2 now, but of course this is around the time when it's an Aghanims on Gyrocopter. The Blade Mail is done on no one, so even if you do manage to get on top of him and isolate him, it's going to be a lot of damage dealt back onto that Death Prophet. And it does not feel right now like Virtus.pro really want to stop the pressure, although Ember caught again. No one. That's just the Aegis down for nothing.
I completely forgot he picked up the Aegis. It's fine.
I mean, I don't know. Feels a little bit cavalier. You literally just picked that up. That was maybe like... I mean, the way the game was going, it felt like it could have been the high ground Aegis.
Yeah, they're going to know that they have a ward on the high ground now, though, as well, because that was the only way no one would get seen.
That's true.
But the fact that VP have had control over this area for so long and haven't dewarded that high ground ward that's about to disappear, it's pretty crazy.
Definitely. Got pipe, drums, necro book for Beastmaster along with the buckler. It's just like all of these items that make it feel impossible to take the fight. Zayat gonna run away there.
And I think this BKB on the gyro is the big timing for them. I think this has to be the point where they're like, okay, we're gonna have Vlad's on Beastmaster, like all these aura items. Ember's about to get BKB as well, and you know, actually it's about 1,700 gold away. But even so, I think this gyro BKB has to be the big one. And I love that gyro was showing bot here as well, so when they smoke, they won't even expect it as much.
Okay. Oh, stolen Vendetta. All right. Ricky trying to jump away. General. They jump over to him. Roar comes out. Good silence interrupting the roar, but VTune, it was all for naught as they surround him. They meteor hammer him. They eventually kill him. Give one more roar to Enchantress. 3 dead. 10,000 gold lead at 21 minutes. 3-13. And this one just did not go their way. FlyToMoon are getting stomped on.
It's a best of 5, you know.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, we can give one game away. It's fine. I don't want to talk about it like it's already over, but it does feel very one-sided at the moment.
But it's already over, yeah.
Yeah. It has got that vibe, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I really feel... You talked about how important General was for this lineup. They just haven't enabled him at all.
Right.
It's like, which is, you know, a real shame for them, considering he's supposed to be the big playmaker in their team. He hasn't got this hero that can do the playmaking.
Right. Well, and the other thing to keep in mind is like that overextension that happened by no one. Those types of plays can happen, and the save that you have right now on Virtus.pro is saved by virtue of like being a sledgehammer that punches, you know, FlyToMoon in the face, and then the Chen heal. If they're not all together, if they make mistakes, it's really easy to punish it on the FlyToMoon's draft because that save doesn't work if you're, you know, Ancient Apparition Ice Blasts them. Likewise, if AA just dies right at the start, that's also pretty bad. Vendetta taken over, Root done.
I hope you never have to save me with using a sledgehammer. That would be, jeez. I'm never calling you.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's the sort of the best defense is a good offense type of mentality, you know? I guess.
Kuma's just going in. Like, no one's not even in the fight at the moment. I assume he has a Remnant down somewhere.
Oh my god, it's terrible. They are going to get down the cloud at the very least, so making some silence happen. Only level 2 for the moment. Enchantress is just dead. Super duper dead. Ice Blast hits a boar. Got him. Easy.
It's like Seb version 2.
Oh no, and Rubik, he's also gone. Giving him the talentless Zayats. Not afraid to flame, as GG is called. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
Was it Seb that used the Sven stun on the boar ages ago? Was that Soccer? I can't remember.
I think for the memes, it was Seb.
Okay, why not? Sure. Yeah, I think this Ench last pick seems to have really bitten them in the bum a little bit. I think they thought that lane was going to go a little bit better there, like this top lane, and this gyro kind of got slightly too much in the first few waves. And when that happens, it can be difficult to try and bully him out the lane after that. And you can still hear the gyro ags in the background as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think this is that really interesting, like it, like you have an idea of what would be good, and then they I think they picked it against the gyrocopter as well. Like gyrocopter got picked, and they're like, all right, sounds great, let's go. Like they already had an idea in their head, and I think that they undervalued how good that lane was going to be. Like if you're gonna last pick your offlaner, that offlaner better stomp that lane, and for whatever reason that really didn't happen. And because of that, the other lanes were either breaking even or winning for Virtus.pro, so it kind of all fell apart. Well, Mo, any final words that you got about that game? I mean, there's not really that much else to say. Maybe any suggestions to FlyToMoon as we get ready to go into game 2 of this best of 5?
I think talking about the Ench pick last week a little bit more, it was the fact that the way they picked the hero, it felt like they were focused more on the laning stage, right, of the game, where they wanted to stop VP having a good start to the game, by these 3 cores or grouping up by just trying to punish the laning stage really hard. I think FlyToMoon, you just have to focus a little bit more on the game overall, and past the laning stage, how the team fight is going to play out a little bit more. Make sure you pick some catch as well. You can't just have this Rubik and maybe a smoke cloud from the Ricky before they get BKBs to try and take these big engagements, because otherwise, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. Try to give General a hero that he can actually play the game on. I think
play the game. Give him a hero that he can play the game on. I can fully agree with that one, because 0-4-0, it ain't that pretty. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back in just a little bit. Game 2 is going to be right around the corner. Parimatch League continuing on right after this.